All right, on today's video, we're gonna try something different. We're gonna do a hot and fast whole packered brisket on a pellet grill. That's right. I'm not gonna cook it on my drum smoker or on my offset smoker. You know, I've done hot and fast on both of these, but I've never done it on a pellet grill. Well, next week when I'm at Scheels Barbecue Academy, I've got to do it. I'm gonna be cooking on a Traeger, and in the time frame I have to cook this brisket, I only have one choice, but to cook it hot and fast. Never done it on a pellet grill. So, hey, I don't want to go up there blind. That's why I'm doing this, documenting, I'm making a video for you so you can see what I do. I have my thought process on how I want to cook it. You know, obviously using similarities of what I would do if I was on the drum smoker or on the offset smoker. So, anyways, to get started, I've already trimmed the brisket. I didn't want to take you through that whole process. You've probably seen a million trim videos. Key is just trying to get it nice and aerodynamic across it, you know, on both sides. This one right here didn't have a whole lot of fat, didn't have much to work with on this side. It is an Imperial Wagyu from Costco, right? So I've got the fat trimmings which are going to render down. I've also got the meat trimmings that we're going to do something with too. So I'll show you that process and what I'm going to do. But yeah, let's get started with it. I'm gonna take this glove off right here because I like to have this hand free when I'm using stuff. So I'm going with a binder. You can choose not to. One other thing real quick before I get started. If I was doing a competition brisket, I would be injecting this. This is an Imperial Wagyu, so I'm not gonna fool with injecting it. I'm gonna use this binder. I'm gonna use Bear & Burton's W sauce, their Fireshire. All right, here's the binder. So I'm gonna just pour it across here, and I'm just going a nice light coat across it, and I'll do the other side when we flip it. That's it, just enough to kind of moisten it up. And next we're gonna go in with my friends Boar's Night Out and Sweet Swine of Mine. They got a new collaboration out called Texas Tornado. So let's start with that Texas Tornado. This is a fine seasoning. It's got really nice garlic, butter taste to it. It's also got some good MSG. Some people have their minds and thoughts about MSG. I like MSG, even though none of my products have MSG in it. I choose not to. But I do love MSG, of course, in moderations. Make sure you get all the sides. All right, so that coat is done. And then our top coat is gonna be our beef rub. It's a nice coarse seasoning. It's got a nice coarse pepper in there. It's got some sea salt, a lot of Spanish flavors in there. Yeah, just a super SPG that's got some packed flavor. So let's use our beef rub. Like I said, all sides. Cool. So that side is done seasoned. This is the side I'm actually going to put on the pellet grill first. So I'm seasoning this first, and then I'm going to flip it. The top part I don't want to be touched after I'm done, so I'm going to place that on there so we can build a nice bark on there. And I'll go through the details of the actual cook. So with this cook, my plans are I'm going to put this on the top shelf. The Rectech pellet grill that I'm using has 2 shelves. I'm hoping the Traeger up at Scheels that I'm going to be cooking on has 2 shelves also. It should, because we're planning on cooking 2 briskets for that event. Anyways, the plans are I'm gonna actually crank the pellet grill up to 350 degrees, and I'm gonna be watching it, looking at it about every 30 minutes, right? My thought process is I'm gonna start it fat side down. I'm gonna cook it for 1 hour, right? And then, like I said, I'm gonna be maintaining and looking at it at that time frame. And then we're gonna flip it over to the other side, and then we're gonna cook it for about 1 hour. At that time frame, we should have a really nice bark and almost of a steaky like sear to it, but not burnt, right? And then we're gonna pan it. We're gonna wrap it. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna wrap it. My goal is to get this brisket cooked in 5 hours, right? I know I'm gonna have about 6 to 7 hours, so I'm gonna play that I'm only gonna have 6 hours, and I wanna have 1 hour of rest. A key in cooking any brisket is allowing it to rest. So I wanna give myself that 1 hour rest. So my goal was to cook this brisket in 5 hours. I could easily cook it in 5 hours if I separate the point and the flat, but I'm gonna try to do it just like this and see if we can make it happen. So I'm gonna flip this over and we're gonna season the other side the same way. So unfortunately my camera overheated. It's not even summertime and we already have that happen. That sun's just glaring down on it. So that's what caused it. But what you missed was that I finished seasoning the other side the exact same way. I also seasoned up those beef tips or the Wagyu beef tip scraps that we had from the trimming. So I'm gonna also put those on the smoker and show you what I do with that. All right, we've got the pellet grill started. And once we get it up to temperature, 350 degrees, we're gonna put it on the grill and I'll show you how we're gonna cook it. All right, we got our RecTech grill, pellet grill, up to temperature. We're gonna put the brisket on. We're gonna put the fat on here to render some beef tallow. We're also gonna put on the cubed up beef trimmings that for another cook that we're gonna do. So let's get it on here, show you how it goes. I'm gonna put it on the top rack. You can kind of hear it sizzling right now as we speak. We're gonna put this beef tallow over here in the corner. We got the beef tips here. Get that on. Get her shut up. Get her shut down, and we're gonna keep checking on about every 30 minutes because we're gonna watch how this thing cooks. We don't want to overcook it. We're just trying to get a nice sear bark on it. So yeah, let's get it going. I want to show you real quick what everything looks like in here, loaded up. See the brisket in there. You got the beef fat and the beef all seasoned up, which we're going to do something special with that. Let's close her down and let it cook. All right, we're just 30 minutes in right now. Brisket's looking good, but now this meat right here is what I want. It's got good color on it, browning on it. We're gonna go ahead and put this in a pan, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. All right, we got those beef trimmings off and in a pan. They've got some nice char on them, good bark on them. Some of the little thinner pieces are kind of more like jerky, but that's okay. We're gonna render that down. All right, we're gonna put in a whole onion. Just dump that right over top. Kind of spread it around. Then we're gonna go in with some Rotel fire roasted tomatoes and chilies. Once again, just mix that around. Don't need no seasoning in here. All that seasoning that's on that beef is gonna be enough for it. And then we're gonna fill up this pan just enough to cover it with beef broth here. All we wanna do is just enough to kind of cover the whole meat. We want it just sitting in that meat. It's gonna render down. We're gonna cook for multiple hours, probably good three hours. And then boom, it'll turn into like a gravy mixture and break down that beef. And we're gonna make some really good stuff with that. So I'm gonna get it covered up real quick. Aluminum foil. I got to get my thick aluminum foil. I got to double this one up right now. And we're going to put this back on the pellet grill, and we're not going to touch it. We're just going to let it render down for, I'll probably look at it after about 2 hours and see where it's at. But yeah, let's get it back on the pellet grill and check out that other brisket. All right, time to put them back on. All right, we got it on. We're almost about time to flip. I've got a little char going in on here, so pretty close to being flipping. And then we're gonna go from there, check it out. All right, we're exactly 1 hour in on this brisket. We're gonna open it up and show you what's going on. Check out the brisket here. I don't know if you can see that right there. Not burnt, it's got a nice little bark there. It's looking good. Got some good color. So now I'm gonna flip this and we're gonna let it cook for 1 hour on that side. We're gonna see what it is. We've got these beef trimmings in here cooking down. They've only been on there about 15 minutes, so we're not gonna look at those for 2 hours. The tallow's pretty much almost rendered. I'm gonna pull that off here shortly, and then we're gonna drain that tallow. Well, yeah, we're gonna let it cook. I've got almost like a steaky smell going on right now, which is what I'm looking for. I kind of like it. All right, shut it down. Let's cook for another hour. All right, we're right at 2 hours with this brisket. I think we're right where we need to be. So we're gonna get in here and we're gonna pull this bad boy off. You can see the bark on this. Looking good right here. We could use a little more on this side, but I'm fine with this. Looks super good. We're gonna go ahead and put this in the pan, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna finish it off here. All right, it's time to wrap. The first thing we're gonna use is my brother Chicken Fried Barbecue's new brisket wrap. It's been winning all kinds of championships, so hey, let's try it out. We're gonna pour this in here, the whole bottle, right? We're also going to take a full 32 ounces of beef broth. Pour that in there. Boom. All right, let's put on this other glove here. All right, we got the brisket. This is the actual fat side down. This is gonna kind of lay flat. We're gonna put this in here just like so, right? And we're gonna take some aluminum foil. I'm gonna take a couple sheets because this is some thin aluminum foil. My heavy duty stuff's not in. All right, we're gonna put it back on the smoker. I'm gonna use my dot here to check the temperature, monitor the temperature. You can see right there, we'll be able to monitor this to watch when I need to go check on the brisket. So let's put it back on. All right, let's get that brisket back on. Close her down. All right, as you can hear, our alarm went off on our dot probe. 208 was what I set it at because I want to start checking it at that point. So let's open it up and see where we are. We're looking for a probe tender. 4.5 hour mark exactly right now, 4.5 hours. All right, so what we're looking for is more of a probe tender. We're gonna be feeling for it. It's a little tight. I can feel it grabbing a little bit. We're measuring right in. The point's feeling good. That's butter over there. The point. It's good right there. It's good on the end there. A little tight right here. I'm gonna let it go for a couple more degrees before we pull it. So I'll probably check back in like 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And we're getting super close. It's right there where we want it. Just a little tight right there in that main area that I'm looking for. All right, let's shut it down. All right, I just pulled off the carne guisada, the beef. This was the brisket trimmings here with the tomatoes and onions. And the beef broth, I did have to add some beef broth in the middle of the cook after about 2 hours to get it right where I needed to finish the cook. But this will go on some tacos with some cheese, onions, and cilantro. Let me tell you, incredible. I also have a video on this carne guisada that you can check out. We're waiting for that brisket to finish up, and then we'll slice it. All right, it's been exactly 4 hours and 50 minutes. The brisket's done. I'm gonna wrap to let it rest. I've already laid down some of that beef tallow that we rendered here on some aluminum foil here. This thing is juicy, baby. You can see, jiggly, jiggly, right? I'm gonna actually pour some of this au jus on top of here before I wrap it up. So I'm gonna get some of this, kind of just pour it over the top here. Brisket's looking so good. Just get some of those flavors in there. Of course, the wind's gonna blow right now. All right, we're gonna wrap this up before it gets too windy. Get it nice and tight. In here. I want that super tight. This is the Rest Easy barbecue blanket by Drip Easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here, and we're gonna rest it for exactly 1 hour, right? And then after it's rested for that 1 hour, we're gonna come slice this bad boy. I'll find the zipper. Boom. All right, we're gonna let it rest easy, come back and check, and we're gonna slice and see what these results are. All right, it's windy out. We're gonna try to get this done. It's rested for 1 hour. We hit all our marks that I wanted to. We finished the cook in 4 hours and 50 minutes. Now the true test is, how'd the brisket end up? All right, well, there's the wind. I'll go pick that up later. All right, let's wrap it, unwrap it. Let's get this bad boy out. She juicy, that's for sure. All right. Nothing left but to cut it. We're gonna cut right here, straight down the middle. Oh yeah, she juicy. I don't even really need to squeeze. I'll let you see it like this. See the other side here. Looking good. Nice and juicy. Zoom in on that. All right, let's get some slices here. I like nice thick slices. Got the bend test. All right. Let's pull it apart. Boom. She juicy. Now let's test it out. That's a pretty good brisket. Not the best brisket I've had, but pretty damn good for 4 hours and 50 minutes. Are you gonna give it a try? Hot and fast brisket on a pellet smoker. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please subscribe to the channel and check out all my other videos. Oh yeah.